and downs.
Don't give up on your faith.
How many keys have you changed?
I know, right? I was going to say, he's switching from alto to tenor to bass. But of course, it's a beautiful morning and good morning to you. Thank you for allowing us into your home. Certainly, if you don't turn on the TV, you won't see us and we won't be able to penetrate your home. So we're grateful. Of course, again, just to remind you, we won the best show, breakfast show, that is in 2017. And we plan to keep that even in 2018. So come on board with us as we deliver to give you the best breakfast served in the whole of Africa, as Bright will say. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's been a wonderful night, and someone tells me that, look, if you have a broken heart, Celine Dion is the wrong person to listen to. She will shred your heart. She's going to make you cry. You can ask Angie. I mean, she's had a woman refuses to age.
Why do you think Angie has had broken hearts? You have experienced them yourself, so we should ask you.
Angie has friends. She's told me she has friends who have had broken hearts.
So she's conducted a survey.
Yes. So she has like empirical data to prove.
So she confided in you and told you that?
I mean,
I mean, she told me we have.
Okay, that's our rapport.
Yeah. Oh, we have. I mean, rapport.
This whole company is you should choose.
Say again.
This whole company is you should choose.
But what's wrong with me?
No, there's nothing wrong. I just want to be sure.
I think.
At least Johnny is better than Bright, too.
Okay. Really? Bright won't be happy to hear that.
Because Bright is old school, like, you know. So Angie
no, but
wants
Bright
to play.
actually has an interesting listening ear for his age, and the fact that he comes to our level to still interact. I mean, I think people open up to him.
When Bright listens to you, what does he do about what you do?
Oh, he's happy. Then he's
Good morning to you, Senior Bright, wherever you are. But I miss the yesteryears, the musical, the yesteryears. For example, Amy Newman. And yesterday I was telling somebody I miss, Joe Bicham, Mary Gansa, Stella Seal,
Susie and
Matt, Jane and Bennett, Tego Sisters, Daughters of Glorious Jesus, Elder Miracle. Speaking of which, why hasn't Elder Miracle been giving the Lifetime Achievement Award before at the VGMAs? The man has over how many volumes of music? Plenty. And people are now picking his songs and then converting it into their own. I think that he deserves an award. I share in that sentiment with Kwame Gatti as well. You know, these days you don't get people who make gospel music like they did.
No.
Everybody is trying to say unbreakable, and since unbreakable. Is that not what they say?
I don't know what they say. All I hear is there's a beat and they're saying something, but I really don't hear. But like you said,
like
those songs seem to transcend generations. Years later, when you hear them, you feel there's a spirit backing it. But not like these ones that just feel like you're supposed to move your body and that's the end of it.
And I think that there's even more competition among themselves than the thing to propagate the gospel. There's more competition among themselves. How well they dress, how good they look, who can bleach the best, you know. And I mean, it's and scandals here and there. And sometimes it's so appalling. And I ask myself, you know, I agree with Koda when he says things are not the same anymore. So bring back the old times. And this is to all our friends who are radio presenters or DJs who play music. Choose good music. Don't choose music because you've been given a brown envelope. Choose good music. Let's promote our own. Because at the end of the day, we must be able to lead people to God. If everything you do doesn't lead people to God. But I miss Amy Newman. It's genuine. I miss her. I mean, for a woman who has 9 children who still looks good, I want a wife like that.
Is it 9 or 7? Okay.
9. The last time, somebody says 9.
At the time I knew her, I think it was 7. I'm not sure. But I went to school with a couple of them. So, I mean, and she is amazing. When I saw her in person, I thought, really? Like this woman, and she doesn't seem to age.
And Stella Basil.
And Amy is very, Amy is very friendly. I mean, she doesn't know you from anywhere you meet her. And she said,
and the way she dances, she can really boogie down. I remember her son got married not too long ago, and I mean, there was a short video, and I captured one of her dancing. What was she doing in the video? Oh my gosh, she was dancing.
Was she singing?
It's okay.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful family. Good morning to them, the Newmans. Certainly, we hope you're doing well. But come back with some more music for us because we miss you, Auntie Amy Newman.
Let's go to the Queenings now. What do you want to sing?
Johnny, are you meeting the press today? Because
the president will meet the press. I'm not there. I mean, you know that it's by invitation. So Nana Kukudia is our man on the beat. He will get there to ask the president questions. If you have questions on your mind you want to put to the president, let's get to know about them. I have a few though that I want to ask the president. I want to ask the president, for example, about a national identification card. You know, we're told it would start last September. What has happened to it? I want to know.
And he has his ID card, you know.
Exactly. But does it work? if the president has his ID card, does it work?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I want to ask the president also about the energy sector tariffs, and you know, there are a couple of questions. We'll talk about it.
I also
shortly.
want to ask about the National Health Insurance Scheme because that affects my department, and people really rely on it, you know, to work, and people also benefit from it, especially the pregnant women. And so when it's not working, everyone seems to suffer for it. But those are questions. But you know, Ghanaians are funny. When we put out the message that we should ask questions, someone says, "Oh, I want to tell the president he's done well in 1 year." I'm like, okay,
really,
this is the opportunity. If you had just a lifetime opportunity to ask a question, we're not saying come and tell us what you feel or praise the president. This is a time for head-on. I mean, it may be the only chance you get in your whole life, and people are saying, "Oh, yes, and I think he's doing well." No, you got it all wrong.
You know how where we have like a national dialogue at the conference center or at National Theatre, and you know the speakers are done, you know, delivering, and the microphones are passed around for people to ask questions. Then you have elderly persons you would assume that would rather ask a question to lead the way, and then they would make long speeches. And they said, well, mine is not a question, but a suggestion.
That wasn't the farm for you.
Yes, if you have a suggestion, keep quiet, write it, and go and give it to the person.
Exactly.
What's the point? Must you speak if you don't have a question?
Exactly.
The instruction is questioning. And you see, these are the same people who come and tell you that you are not disciplined. The discipline says, we have 10 minutes for questions. Why do you take 8 minutes of it to make a suggestion? And then 2 minutes are left for questions?
Anyway, that's Ghanaians for you. George?
And so news is up next here on your favorite morning show, New Day. And thanks for staying. We start off with a topical issue where the Inspector General of Police, David Asante-Apietu, has asked Ghanaians and the international community to remain calm as they investigate the suspected explosives. The police investigations is to ascertain whether the 3 suspects are terrorists and if the 7 suspected explosives found with them are hand grenades.
There was panic and fear Monday afternoon as news went round about the arrest of 3 suspected terrorists in Accra. The men were picked up in different areas in Accra after police intelligence. The first suspect was arrested in Odoko, after which he led the police to arrest 2 of his accomplices at a different location.
Let me state that we believe the objects to be grenades of some kind. An investigation is underway to quickly establish the nature of the objects seized.
It is unclear the motives of the suspects. Unconfirmed reports have linked one of the suspects to international terrorist groups. But the Inspector General of Police, David Asante-Apietu, says there is no need to panic.
I wish to assure you and all Ghanaians, as well as the international community, to remain calm as we investigate this matter of police seizure. The seizure is a result of police intelligence-led operations, and we are working together with the relevant agencies to get to the bottom of this matter.
The Inspector General of Police also spoke about steps to curtail the spread if the results of the investigation should prove positive.
Our investigation seeks to answer questions such as whether these persons are terrorists, whether they have linkage with any terrorist group, how they obtain the objects. Scores of investigators and specialists have been dispatched to various locations, and we are treating this matter with all the seriousness it deserves.
But what would the administration do to personnel who leaked the pictures and information on the arrest?
Anytime such a thing happens, we do the investigations. If the person is found out, we take disciplinary action against the person. But it's still a human society. There are sometimes lapses, but it's for us to do what is required of us by taking the disciplinary action against officers who misconduct themselves.
The IGP appealed to the general public to volunteer any information that would assist the police in their investigations.
Away from security, let's shift to the presidency, where President Akufo-Addo is expected to meet the press today, January 17. The news team sought the views of some Ghanaians on what issues journalists should ask the president.
There have been promises of the free SHS program, one district, one factory, planting for food and jobs, and a host of others. Now, President Akufo-Addo subjects himself to press interrogation. How do you feel the president has performed, and what questions would you ask the president if given the chance?
The one district, one factory, which as at now, 1 year has passed. We have not seen any sign. And one village, one dam. So far, I have not seen any sign.
So far, so good. He's done well. But I think the electricity bills that he did just for the workers, he should extend it to we, the citizens that are using it at home, so that we can also benefit from it. How has it been so far for him ruling the country? Does he really pay attention to the negative side, or he's just been there? Like, does he really pay attention to what people say? Like the propaganda, like NDC, like all the time they are against him. Does he really care? If he does, what does he do about it?
We should continue for free education. That's a free education. We like it. We appreciate it. So we are encouraging that we should do it more.
Yeah, I see no negative so far. I just hope that whatever good thing that I've sent that maybe he will do it for Ghanaians. I pray to God that maybe God should help me for him to fulfill his promise to Ghana.
My only concern is that what is he doing about the students that have completed university and still don't have jobs. That's my only concern, because I still know a number of graduates that don't have jobs. So I will only plead on our president to do something about the youth employment.
Things I'm seeing, because things I'm seeing in Ghana here, like some things are very costly for Ghana. It's too expensive. Like some things we are buying, some eating, something we are buying for eating, or all those things. So it's too costly. So they need to do something about it. So let us bring something down.
Another New Patriotic Party says it will not tolerate party officers who buy and distribute application forms by themselves to those who would contest positions at the polling station level. At a news conference in Accra, Acting General Secretary John Boydu said this would amount to hijacking and could compromise this election process.
The news conference was officially introduced the NPP's reviewed constitution and announced dates for its internal primaries. On the constitution, members agreed that the national executive elections should be held from June 15 to 17, while external branch elections should be held in February. Again, the constitution recognized that polling station elections should be held between January 17 and 21. However, some senior party officers in the upcoming polling station elections are purchasing application forms for those willing to contest. In Ashanti, the regional chairman Bernard Mchibo-Siakun and other members of parliament agreed to pay for those willing to contest. The application form is 10 cedis, but the acting general secretary of the party, John Boydu, lauded their efforts, but warned against hijacking the elections.
It is not, and I repeat, it is not right for anybody to decide to buy all forms at the polling station and become the one who will determine who gets forms from him or her. I think that it is important that we note this. We don't want to finish this process, then our members will be disgruntled and complaining that they did not have forms. We want to insist that nobody who has the interest of contesting for elections at each of the level should be denied access to the forms.
He cautioned those supervising the polling station elections to uphold the integrity of the voting register and explained that prospective voters whose names are not in the register can still cast their ballots.
If for any reason, any active known party person residing in the polling station could not find his name in that register, 2 members of our party can vouch that this person is our party member, he's active, we all know him, and he should be allowed to vote in that election.
In the reviewed constitution, Nasara coordinator has now been made a special organ of the party with 2 deputies, which hitherto was seen as a normal branch office.
There are officers at the constituency level, at the regional level, and at the national level shall be elected. They will also have deputy Nasara coordinators as well at the constituency, at the region, and 2 national Nasara coordinators.
The constitution has also considered former president's running mates to be part of the steering committee meetings.
Away from the camp of the MPP, let's move to the floor of Parliament, where the Special Committee of Parliament investigating the cash for seed scandal has adjourned indefinitely because expatriate businesses failed to appear as witnesses. The committee sat for over 1 hour and adjourned without any communications from the expatriates, a situation the committee fears would affect their work.
The public hearing was scheduled for 10 a.m., by which time the committee was set. None of the expatriate businesses scheduled to meet the committee was present after an hour.
To them, we gave them 10 o'clock to appear before us. Unfortunately, we've waited up until now. It's 10 minutes after 11. None has shown up. So we are unable to continue with the work of the committee for the day. So we adjourn and probably recontact them to appear before us at a later date to be determined by the committee.
It was unclear why the expatriate failed to appear, but the spokesperson of the committee said it had enough powers to compel the witness to come if it happens that they blatantly refused the invitation.
We have sufficient authority as a committee, and I believe the Ghanaian businesses, they respect the Parliament of the Republic, and for good reason. We have had to adjourn. For any hearing process, you have a public hearing, but also an exception in camera, depending on the nature of what you want to do. So that has never been closed. So far, any of the parties who came before us, if they had wanted an in-camera hearing, would have been granted it on the merits.
The committee, which has been sitting since last Thursday, is expected to present its report to Parliament on January 24. The situation, he said, is likely to affect their work. So, is the committee considering an extension?
It may be prudent. I can't speak for the chairman, but I believe when the committee meets, that will be on the table. We are supposed to be giving our report a week from today, or is it tomorrow? And there's an intervening weekend. So if the evidence is not all rounded up, obviously it puts pressure on us.
So far, the Minority Chief Whip, Mohammed Mubarak Muntaka, North Tong MP, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, Minister of Trade and Industry, Alan Chermatin, as well as officials from the Millennium Excellence Foundation, organizers of the Ghana Expatriate Business Awards, have all appeared before the committee. There are suggestions the expatriate business executives may not show up due to the political nature of the matter and the effect it could have on their businesses going forward. The witnesses who made the allegations, MP for Asawasi Muntaka Mubarak and North Tong MP Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, still stand by the allegations. The Trades Ministry maintains it had nothing to do with the collection of monies, while the organizers insist nobody paid money to sit close to the president. Information from the expatriate businesses is therefore critical to the committee's work if the truth is to come out.
Away from Parliament, let's move to a development that is making all the headlines, where the Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Obed Akwa, says personnel of the security agencies will not hesitate to defend themselves when attacked in the line of duty. He has been addressing the Agogo Traditional Council in the Ashanti region during a fact-finding mission to end the conflict between nomadic herdsmen and farming communities. And here's a report by my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar.
4 security personnel, including 3 military officers and 1 police officer, were shot and wounded by nomadic herdsmen during an operation to evacuate cattle from Argolands last week. The incident led to a renewed drive by government to remove all cattle and the nomads from the area. Over 200 military and police personnel have been deployed to Argo and environs to enforce the evacuation exercise. Lieutenant General Obi Akwa assured the people of Argo of a relentless fight to evict the herdsmen from the area to end the conflict.
No attack on a soldier or a policeman or any other security person, or in fact the ordinary citizenry of Ghana, shall go without a response. We consider that attack an attack on the state.
Queen Mother of Argo traditional area, Nana Dwabin Afrakuma Sewakusi, pleaded with the security personnel to execute the attacks professionally. We will rally behind the task force to ensure the conflict is resolved. Some cattle owners say they have complied with the directive but claim their cattle are being killed indiscriminately by the task force. Meanwhile, security expert Dr. Kwesi Enen, in an interview on 3FM, warned there could be an outbreak of diseases into the country if the appropriate institutions fail to check the health status of cattle owned by nomadic herdsmen crossing Ghana's international boundary.
If all these cattle causing havoc are owned by nomadic herdsmen, then a fair percentage or proportion of them have crossed our international boundaries. Now, the rule says every single cattle crossing our international boundary must have a health certificate of sorts. Let's check with the veterinary services. How many of these cattle have been checked and that their health certificates were in order, so they don't bring eradicated diseases back into this country?
Director of Legal Administration at the National Communications Authority, NTA, Abena Safuije, has told an Accra High Court that she had no knowledge of the contract signed between the authority and Infralux Development Limited. She was testifying as the first prosecution witness in the case arising from the contract that has seen former board chair Eugene Bafo Boni, former CEO of NTA William Matthew Tevier, and 3 others charged with causing financial loss to the state.
Led in evidence in chief by Director for Public Prosecution Yvonne Atakra Obo-Bisa, the Director of Legal Administration at the NCA told the court apart from being responsible for the drafting of contractual documents, she also has custody over them. She was, however, handed the contract document in court and she denied knowledge, saying she only came across it when the investigator handling the case came to her office and handed the document to her. She added that she ran checks in the department registry and did not find a copy of the document in her custody. Abena Asafuije said a cursory look at the document revealed it had been signed by former Director General of NCA, William Tevier, who is also before the court. Defense counsels for the 5 accused persons, including Thaddeus Sori and Osafu Boabin, raised some concerns and objections which were overruled by the court presided over by Justice Eric Che Bafo. However, 2 of the minutes of meetings by the board between January 2015 and December 2015 were not admitted after objection by defense counsel, who argued that the minutes were neither signed by the board chair nor the board secretary, making the document inadmissible. The court is expected to resume sitting again on Thursday after a set Tuesdays and Thursdays for hearing. Prosecution is expected to continue with the evidence of the first prosecution witness, after which the witness will be cross-examined and possibly re-examined. The Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Gloria Kufu, expressed satisfaction at the expeditious manner the case is being heard.
Expectation is that the court has indicated it will clear the court with other matters and dedicate its sittings to this matter.
The 5 are said to have fraudulently withdrawn some $4 million from NCA account without justification.
As we said earlier, the president will be meeting the press today at the Flagstaff House, and so we're keeping you posted in our subsequent bulletins. But for more news updates, log on to our website, 3news.com. I'm George Quinn. New Day continues after the break. Good morning.
Let's do newspaper headlines now. We'll start off with Daily Heritage. It says 4 million NCA deal bombshell. Contract signed without knowledge of legal director, says the witness. And there's an insert of the former NCA boss, Mr. William Tevi, and also the Attorney General, Ms. Gloria Ekufu. Also, a school built in 2011 has still not opened. And then 3,000 residents have been denied access to healthcare at Domiabra, Obum. And then finally, KNUST Jubilee Mall organizes fire safety and prevention training. Well, $4 million scandal. I mean, the fact that the legal director doesn't know of any contract as such makes it even a big deal the more. Why we should probe into it. Johnny, it's not only just any money. This is our state money, $4 million that has gone into procuring something that isn't existent, as it were. It wasn't really meant for, what, cyber security? And what was the whole point of it?
I think that the last time I checked, the equipment was actually there, but it had been kept in somebody's house and covered. So the purpose for which the equipment itself was, but because this matter is in court and the trial has begun, I'd want us to be a bit slow on it. Otherwise, we'll be committed for contempt or sub judice, if you will. But I find it quite worrying. And I hope that we're able to get to the bottom of all of this. That's what I can say.
Certainly. But also, why, we throw money away oftentimes. Until the story would be captured on something like Daily Heritage, we wouldn't know about it. That a school has been built in 2011 and it's still not open. And yet, the few schools that are opened have so many students that don't even have seats. I mean, they don't have seats to sit on. They don't have boards to learn in. They don't have classrooms to sit in. But there's one open sitting there. It's been commissioned, I'm sure, but it's just not been open. And so, Johnny, what are we doing as a nation?
I dare say that, look, all our people, from our security supervisors to our headmasters to everybody within the education chain, may know about, in the Eastern region, may know about this particular one. Those at the regional office will know about this project. This is a school building at Kwamanting, completed in 2011 and has been under lock and key. So 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 7 solid years. And so what was the essence of collecting the people's money, the taxes, to put up the school building? What was the purpose? And why? And sometimes you go into it and you find that it is due to the maze of bureaucracy. The GES and the district assembly are not able to agree, sometimes on very mundane issues, who must take a scissors to go and cut the ribbon. And a similar situation existed at the Kanda Estate Cluster of School. I told you about it. A toilet facility had been constructed. At the time I spoke with Reverend Betty, he told me that, give them 1 week because the children are used to open defecation. And I was so livid and shocked. These are the things that happen here. 2011. And you see, you will find that if you go into that community, BEC ratings keep dropping, teenage pregnancy is high because the children are not in school, and you find that the parents who themselves contributed to make sure that the school is put up there are frustrated. So why do we do these things to ourselves? And yet we have people stand on political platforms and national platforms and tell us that education is key. How key? How do we prove that? How do we prove that education is key if all we do is to construct school buildings, lock it up, and pretend as if nothing has happened?
Let me just read a part of the story, because it says the community with a population of about 1,000 has been without a school since its existence, and the inconvenience compelled the community to seek help from non-governmental organizations and the Ekuapem North Municipal Assembly to construct the school. And so it was to fill a gap, to create space for children to attend school, and yet it hasn't been opened. And so is it that we don't understand why we do what we do?
We certainly don't. And if you go deeper into it, you find that the children will have to perhaps journey 2-3 hours on foot to go and access education somewhere. If you, your child, I'm talking about you who has to go and ensure that the school is open, you who knows that the results, the reports have come to you, the same person who knows that money was spent to construct the school, you who calls yourself director or whatever it is, your children will have to journey 3 hours every day, 3 hours in, 3 hours out. That's 6 hours to go and access education. Would you allow them to do it? Sometimes we are too wicked, and I think that's evil if we do some of these things. I'll tell you about a similar situation at Okankwe South.
Right.
There's a place called Bishop. Anybody who lives in Accra knows Bishop, around the Cocoa Clinic. There's a library there that's been constructed. It's been there for more than 10 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I know the church that gave the land to then MP Nana Kumia, who was then MP for Okankwe South, to put out the library. The library has been put up. Then Honorable Ahmed Atta takes over power. And can you imagine that the library has been locked for 10 solid years? And there are about 12 schools within the perimeter. There's the Kanesh Anglican JSS, there's Bishop 1 and 2, there's Awudome, there's what they call Numo School, there's the Kaneshi cluster of schools, all those schools. And they were supposed to benefit from the library facility 10 years down the line. And I tell you what, the results keep dropping. And I'm speaking passionately about it because when we were in school, the concept that even brought up the library was when we were in school, we had, people donate books to us, and we had a small chop box that we kept the books. So Mr. Sam will bring the books, distribute it, you read it, and then you put it back. Or sometimes you sign and take it home. And that was the concept that said, okay, the children like to read, let's put up a library. So the church agreed, the St. Joseph Anglican Church agreed that give them a land to put up the library. 10 years. And nothing has happened. It's become a political white elephant. So good morning to you, Honorable Ahmed Atta, MP for Okankwe South. I know that this matter has been on your table for a long time, and we're all behaving like ostriches. Because I remember, like, in 2016, when we went to Kaneshi to hold the Election Command Center conversations, this library matter came up. Quickly, we zoomed in to go and paint the building. And you want to ask yourself, yes, the reactionary, and it's... I just don't get it. This is a library facility meant for the children. So why was the library put up? And then when you talk about it, you are told that, ever since the library was put up, we're trying to also put up an ICT center. Okay, so both buildings are done. Next thing is what? Stock them with books, commission them, open them. Now if you go to that place, the gates are rusting. Okay, the metal gates, they are rusting away. And it's become a den for all manner of unscrupulous people. The last time the police had a raid there, they found pellets of Indian hemp around there, which means that people sleep there, which means that people smoke there, and it is adjoining to a school. Get the repercussions. So Minister for Education, Dr. Matthew Poku Prempe, good morning to you. Honorable MP for Okankwe South, Ahmed Atta, good morning to you. I want to talk about the assemblyman for the area as well, Mr. Ishmael Tego, and I think there's another one. I've forgotten his name. Good morning to all of you. You have a duty to the children of Okankwe South. You have a duty to the children of, is it Kwamanting? You have a duty to anywhere in this country. And I understand there's one also at Dom Kwabenya, a similar library. Good morning to you, Madam Ajoa Safo. And please, let's get these things open so the children can use it. If not, the church perhaps would like to take back in the land. Because it's been 10 years. If you take somebody's land for 10 years, imagine if the church had decided to put up a commercial activity on that particular land.
They would have
how much money they would have made from it.
Which they probably could have used to build a library.
Exactly. Before. And the church, in its own wisdom, knowing how critical education is, decided to give the land. And you keep it for 10 years, from Nana Kumia to Honorable Ahmed Atta. I think it's so sad. And we must deal with the issues properly. This is very pathetic and a sad day for education in Ghana. Very, very sad day. And I speak about this because I attended one of the schools in the cluster. I told you about Parkway Siasari. I can give you a compendium of people who are medical doctors, who are engineers, who went to that same Saito school. And it is not because it is a preparatory school. I'm saying that it is because at the time we were given opportunity to read and have extra classes. And that is what we are denying these children of. Mind you that the GES and AMA says no extra classes. So we start school at 7, we close at 2:30 or 3. So the time that's left, and even throughout the weekend, what do they do? What do they do? Do they loiter around? What do they do? What do they do? We just don't care about the children, and we pretend like we care. It's a shame. Shame on you if you have opportunity to impact somebody's life and you don't do it. Shame on you, and good morning. Have a change of heart in 2018.
Anyway, so let's move on to Ghanaian Times, which says experts fail to show up at cash for seat probe. Also, NCA lawyer says, I have no knowledge of the $4 million contract. Then the president will address the media today. Also, Ghana is safe. That's coming from the IGP. He says, despite arrest of gang of 3 with 7 bombs, he assures that Ghana is safe to live in. But Johnny,
Ghana is safe.
Yeah, before the cash for seat probe, we were told that everyone was ready to come on board for the probe to go through, so we come to finality. So why will the experts fail to show up and without, you know, giving reasons for that? I find that very disrespectful, because you certainly would have been informed of the fact that you're needed or you're being called before the committee on such and such a day. And so if for whatever reason you feel you can't make it, I just thought it would be nice to put it in writing, to make a phone call one way or another, because remember, we're paying for these committees to sit. And so it's not just they wake up and go and sit there for nothing. They have a role to play. They have work to do for which our money is going to pay them. And so when they miss out on something like this, we have to talk about it.
I know that I'm told by Catherine Frimpong, our parliamentary correspondent, that letters have been written to them to want to know why they didn't turn up. But I find it quite unfortunate that before, and rightly as you said, before the sittings began, we're told that, oh, these people are ready, they have evidence, they are ready to prove everything. So why are they pussyfooting now? Where did all the evidence go? And what happened to it? I'm interested. I want to, you know, get to the bottom of this and the conclusion. And I think that if some people are making us go on a wild goose chase, they should be properly punished for it. We can't blow alarm and then get it just wasted.
Yeah.
I don't think that is proper at all, and I feel very sad that this is happening to us. Why would the experts not respect our parliament? This is our parliament.
It is.
And this is all of us Ghanaians. And so the people in parliament represent us. And so if they fail to attend upon us, I don't know why, but certainly all of them cannot just decide not to attend upon the committee. There's something must be wrong somewhere, and we need to dig into this one. But
President, Johnny, if you were given the chance to meet the president today and ask him a few questions, what will be on your mind?
My first question to the president will be about the national identification card. I'm saying so because in other jurisdictions, once you're born, you're registered, and they know when you turn 18, if you have a job, whether you don't have a job, what benefits accrue to you, and all of that. If you're applying for a passport, so we don't need to run around with a voter's ID card, a national ID, and NHIS and everything. I'm looking for that one-stop card that will be able to get me. We're promised that it will start in September. It's January. That's about 4 months away from that. I want to know from the president when we're having full implementation of this. Because I have an old national ID card, but I guess I cannot use it anymore. So now I want to know when this card, this new one, becomes fully implementational, because it will help me in so many other ways. You know that when you go to the banks, and sometimes you have a national ID, they will tell you, oh, it's not in our system, we can't. Some of the banks don't take it. You take an NHIS card and they tell you, oh, it's not in our system, we cannot take it. And sometimes that's the only ID card you have, and you'd want to access the service. So ID card is what I would ask the president. I don't know what you would ask the president.
I've told you, I'm so biased. National Health Insurance Scheme and also the health sector in general. I would want to know what the president's plans. You know, I understand that he is not the health minister or minister of health, but certainly he knows a few ideas, or they have an ideology that he plans to roll out. And so I'm interested in what he plans to do for the health sector in Ghana as it stands now. The existing structures, I don't want to know about those he's going to add on, but the ones that exist, how is he going to make it functional so that even he as president can access our health system and be comfortable, be happy, and also be confident in the system that it works. That for me is basic and final.
On the back of that, I would rather that the president, for example, makes a declaration to all his ministers that don't go and access healthcare from anywhere else.
Ghana.
Yes, if you are ill, we have all the professionals here. Stay in this country. Just like we do, don't buy new cars, don't buy your old cars, don't do this. I wish that the president will make that, because if the president says eat Ghana, sleep Ghana, wear Ghana, and everything.
Breathe Ghana.
Yes, we should treat Ghana too. So, Mr. President, good morning to you. Yourself, your Vice President, Chief of Staff, all your ministers, all the parliamentarians. Can you make a caveat that, well, if you are ill, don't go anywhere? anywhere, because that's the only reason we can all be sure that we are getting quality healthcare. Exactly. If they all assess it, if you all assess healthcare, we go to Kolebu, we go to Ifia Konta, we go to Komfuanochi together, we will know that the services will improve. Exactly. Because some of you big boys don't go there, that's what happens. I mean, we go there, we don't find beds, and nobody cares. And IGP says Ghana is safe. Do you feel safe? 050-823-5228. That's the WhatsApp line. But a good morning to you, ADO Samuel Into in Sogakope. It tells me that the massive are watching in Sogakope. So nice. Yeah, we have fans in Sogakope.
Oh, good morning. How do you say good morning in Ewe?
I don't know.
We'll get back. We'll come back with that, but we'll greet you in Ewe. We'll surprise you.
Is it Wezo? Well, no, Wezo is welcome.
No, yes, Wezo will be
welcome. It's okay.
But we don't have any back-end support. Hey, Harriet, can you help us with good morning in Ewe? Anyway, but we'll come back.
She said Kolafia
and Hausa. We are not doing Hausa. We said Ewe. Anyway, guys, we have Daily Rant, and we're talking about President Trump's racial slur. He called African countries shithole. And we're wondering what others think about it. Do you really believe Africa is a shithole, or we're beyond that? Should we care what he says, or should we just move on and do what we're good at doing, try and make Ghana or Africa a better place for ourselves? Let's hear what people have to say as they rant with George Quaynon.
This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
US President Donald Trump is at it again. This time around, he has caused a global storm by referring to Haiti and African countries as shithole countries that do not produce desirable immigrants for the United States of America. If you go on social media, the messages are heartbreaking. They're all bashing the president, and so I don't want to read them. And this is a president who is not known for his politeness. He is rude and naively honest. And so when you say he has stated the obvious, a political scientist I talked to said it's a wake-up call for Africa to, let's say, go back to work and cross the T's and dot the I's. Is it what it is? This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking.
Is he trying to say we are nothing on this planet? Has he ever read history and know the contribution of blacks to this planet we are living on? Or they think we don't read, so, or if they said you have anything hiding from black book, they should go and check. If they talk of even Hebrews, who are Hebrews, they should go and check and know what we've done for this planet. Into me, it's not baby. Not say be I say. Your leaders need him bomb home born, do not bomb body and your continent into Ponintino. We're free and share shit holes. I won't no said any on your shrine name. In 40 here, one more coffee, Mujanoko, for US embassy, some will be bring us alive. I am a prayer. Now, Donald Trump was of America. Never pay free him. Never pay a German. Never mean Irish. No more migrating in their folds to America. No, those days are Europeans cannot even stand or control their economy. No,
whether he use it or he doesn't use it. Now who caused up? Who caused this abusive language to be used on us as people all the time? It is we ourselves.
We ourselves. Why are you saying we?
We ourselves.
Wasn't our democracy truncated on the course from these same Americans? Have you forgotten? When Nkrumah started his 7-year plan, but
then, look,
if they see any African
gentlemen,
almost African countries here,
let me tell you. So, if you say that, supposing you are chasing a woman, supposing you see a nice, beautiful lady, and you are interested in the person, and I'm also interested in the person, but I find a way to lure you that this girl is evil, and you run away and back off, and later you see me taking over the lady. I have used my brain to outwit you. This is what America will do to you every day. So don't blame them.
By breaking down sovereign countries, like what they did to Gaddafi.
Now, migration is started from Croatia. Migration. Yeah. So for somebody coming to your home country, it's not a taboo. People migrating from one country to the other is not a taboo, and it is not a crime. Now, if my memory will serve me right,
but
Daddy, you see, it's exodus of technocrats. It's done everywhere. America is built on blacks and even the Israelis. Tell me who is in America can put his hand on his chest. Some me, I'm indigenous.
What prevents you as a sovereign state of Ghana? For you also to turn it?
Let me give you the it's an undeniable fact. Say, this racism should be condemned in no certain terms. Are you getting it?
Okay.
See, it should be condemned in no certain terms.
See, what
because one, his comment was unguided, uncouth.
I have no doubt.
And I'm saying
Donald has said worse things than this. But maybe you people were not taking attention to it. I have no problem with that. But you know what I like about that man? He has made me to know that he doesn't like me. He is not a hypocrite. That is one thing unique about Donald. Okay. Oh, he's telling you he's not a hypocrite. Those ones they are insulting you every day. But they just say it in your face.
Because Africa have found Crony. Yes, and Kebetum near America, and in CIA, the ISN Chrono. In Africa, in Tumponda, or the something of the year, Asia for no. They were focusing on the Africans. Say, see a betum point, but Cabo me resources, so many reality. They will truncate our development.
We have little money. We Africans, our leaders, they have little minds. The Asia, they could have done same, but then the Asia were
no, Asia, they don't have resources.
Beshadio, I spoke to 3 political scientists. I almost said this is a wake-up call for Africa. We should go back to work, cross the T's and dot the I's. So you guys have work to do.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yes. I accept that statement because when I look around me, everything about us is in a mess, and that is what the man is telling you. Exactly.
The problem isn't any moral justification to come out with such unguided comment. No, it's not an individual. Listen, let me make a frank decision. If Donald Trump would have attacked the leaders of African countries, most of us wouldn't have any problem. You get it? Because now you see, it's a wake-up call. It's also an undeniable fact. Because if you look at how we are blessed with the natural resources, and yet we have our cup in hand, begging the Western world, okay, there should be an insult which should directly be given to our leader, but not the populace.
I was telling them yesterday, this insult Donald Trump hit at us. I'm excluded. This insult, those who he attacked, they know themselves. Me, I don't think you were the one he meant to insult. But I feel he's targeting some group. That is our leadership.
I'm coming. So you direct that to the leadership. Now, when this happened, I know the South Africa, they summoned the U.S. envoy in the country, and then even U.S. embassy in Ghana have also already released about just to cool tempers. But I think that we should really attack him as a person. The comment is not U.S. from U.S. They should not attack the president.
Let me come in.
And the U.S. they make remarks.
He is their leader.
He has been elected,
and they elected him. So it's just like we elect parliamentarians and our president. Whatever they say, it comes from, let me say, the citizens.
Okay.
Into whatever Trump was saying on himself, because as I speak to you, or what the white supremacy support. It's not man you pay thinking say white na backing the most majority race in America. That's why he's doing that.
Let me chip in this. I have a video here. Gentile. Do you know what he said? He said, listen, the journalist interviewed him. He said, what does he think? That the black is supreme more than the white. And even the Latinos. Easy. So at the end of the day, if you want to deduce from his past and even current unguided comment, it's fun of doing that. And meaning Africans, we are nothing. But what I'm saying is that you would have even directed this comment to our leaders, but not the African continent as a whole.
You keep mentioning this. Me, we should take this as a challenge that Donald Trump, we should prove him wrong going forward by making the systems work here, so that in 10 years or in some decade to come, we will be seeing things change. But 60 years.
But the same people are manipulating systems in Africa. Are you not aware?
No, you know what?
That is what they do. They want to see your citizens dying on the Atlantic Ocean, dying. That is what they want to see, crossing the desert. Let me tell you, they know, they are aware of whatever they are doing.
I want to chip in.
It's a calculated effort they are doing.
You know one, if you take a coin, you look at the other side of the coin before you jump into conclusion. It's like when it rains, farmers should be rich. It's not logical. A lazy farmer cannot be rich.
Yeah, exactly.
You see, it's a wake-up call. We've accepted it. You see, it's a high time. I was saying something yesterday. Nipadudu was saying that what Ghana had was sure no Ghana shoe or better or better.
Made in Ghana.
Now, how many people? So, it's a hard time we have to wake up from our slumber. That listen, Kanena e bejini mreno a yehu bronia. Yes, young from be a meda because you young. What do you say?
Is it time you brody?
Yeah, no, then biblically, you know, I don't want us to go there.
Yeah, okay.
Civilization started from Ethiopia, the Kushite. What do you say? Member, see about now. So it's a hard time to say young Kasa. We have our destiny in our own hands. We become an architect of our own life.
Yeah.
So that at the end of the day, you will say, whatever we produce, like what the late champion said, let's eat what we produce and produce what we eat.
Yeah, okay. This thing, you people are making us kill ourselves and scream over. Me, I don't see it to be.
So what's your takeoff?
We sit on radio every day. We insult our president, don't we? Yeah. We sit on radio, even radio panelists and TV hosts, and radio hosts. They even judge on issues they don't even have idea about. We see these things. But what I want us to do now is that somebody has described us in a very dehumanizing manner. Look around ourselves. Do we fit into that category? If it is no, let's respond appropriately. If it is yes, then wherever we are falling short, whatever we are doing and we are not doing well, it is time we wake up.
AU is made up of 55 countries, so more like if you can say Kokun Chokwa with USA, but people say they are sleeping. What do you expect them to do, like moving forward?
But me by me can say in Quebec to me Prana, it was saying every African country should call the US embassy in their country.
They should close that
because they should have put in a lot of measures. Because you know and I make us a drama with African leaders so. Na me bomb pie say bia ye time e ko de niam abesesa.
You are telling me that the AU should wake up. AU can never do FOCO. You know why? They are toothless dogs. They can never back. FOCO. You know, it's up to us. Say young youth now, or maybe those who are coming. Me, this attack, I'm happy it came at the right time. It is not meant for our current leaders. It is those who will come after. They should wake up and know when you want to go into politics as a youth. Now, know that you are being called a shithole. And what are you coming on board to do to change this baggage that we are being associated to? That should be how we behave going forward.
So these are the thoughts coming from the public. And what you make of Donald Trump's comments, racist comments, I should say, on Africa and Haiti? Let's know what you think about this. Log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook is News on TV3, and on Twitter is our News TV3. We came to you from Kukumemi here at Accra. Thanks for watching.
This is what it feels like.
Welcome back and thank you very much. Let's get into the news review segment. The Daily Guide says IGP hunts missing bombs, 3 bomb suspects caged, and 14 stolen cars, NDC stolen cars recovered. GBC boss fired. No contract for $4 million NCA deal, lawyer tells court. The Daily Graphic this morning reports that NCA didn't budget for surveillance gadgets, witness. And CDS warns against attacks on military. Ghana is safe. That's the screaming headline on the front page of the Daily Graphic. IGP declares so. The finder says 33 killed, 31.2 million Ghana cedis property destroyed through 4,759 fire disasters in 2017. NPP outdoors reviewed constitution and minister stops increment in university admission form fees. We'll get into the detail. Expert fails to show up for cash for seed probe, and I have no knowledge of $4 million contract, NCA lawyer. President addresses media today. And despite arrest of gang of 3 with 7 bombs, IGP declares Ghana is safe. The Daily Heritage says $4 million NCA deal bombshell. Contract signed without knowledge of legal director, says witness. School built in 2011, still not opened. And finally, on the front page of the Daily Statement, one village, one dam starts this week. Baumia, one district, one factory must succeed. Kwewu Hene calls for support. And Akufo-Addo faces media over 1 year stewardship. My guest this morning, the MP for Myon, Honorable Mohamed Abdulaziz. Chief, good morning.
Good morning.
And how are you doing?
I'm good.
Great. And also the MP for Sekedi, the Western Region, Antu Ejapa Mesa. He's a legal practitioner as well. Chief, good morning.
Good morning.
And Happy New Year.
Many, many happy returns.
I haven't met you this year.
Yes, yes.
How did
I've not had the privilege of attending your studio since January.
How did it go for you?
It was well, pretty busy. I spent Christmas in Accra and spent New Year in my constituency, and then subsequently stayed there for another week to interact with some of my constituents. And pretty demanding as always. You know the work of an MP.
Especially under these tough times.
Anyway,
I won't glorify that.
Let's start the conversation, Mo. Let me start with you.
Just sympathizing with you,
Let's start the conversation, Mo. The president meets the press today. What question, for example, if you had a chance to ask the president, would you put to him?
Well, good morning to our cherished viewers, especially my constituents back at Myon. If I was to be a media person, I would not be asking a question. Perhaps I'll be urging the president to be honest in the way and manner he engages the Ghanaian public.
The platform is for questions.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Thankfully, I'm not a media man in the first place, but my worry has to do with the president being honest in the way and manner he engages the Ghanaian public and the delivery of the very mandate that we have given to him. That has been my worry with President Akufo-Addo for the past 1 year that he has been in office. That in all that he does and in all his public utterances, he has not demonstrated good faith with us, and that is a worry that I would urge him
How so?
For most of the things that he has pledged to do, even some of the projects that he claimed to be doing, he's either not doing them or they are filled with a lot of challenges that he fails to admit. We are aware that somewhere this week, I think somewhere Monday or so, the president was announcing some reduction in electricity tariffs.
14%.
14% on the average. When you know very well, the president said that from January, the average reduction in electricity tariff will be some 14%. Well, in January, I'm sure the president didn't know we're even in the amount of...
It will go to those who are running commercial meters, non-residential.
And you see when I say he's not being honest with the way he engages the Ghanaian public. For instance, when you go to pay your bill at ECG, there's nothing that indicates on your bill that bill is coming from a salon or a barbering salon or from a mechanic shop. There's nothing like that. And so our president doesn't seem to take us
He was specific, non-residential. So if you have a residential meter...
You see, we have residential consumers.
Okay.
We have non-residential and we have industrial consumers. Absolutely. That is the classification that we have.
Beautiful.
We don't have a barber's bill, hairdresser's bill, tailor's bill. We don't. And so when we engage in such a propaganda, we are not being honest with the Ghanaian public. And that's my worry with President Akufo-Addo. I just hope that he would have learned in the past 12 months and will turn on a new leaf to engage us in a more honest and truthful manner.
That's what you want to...
Yeah, that's what I want him to speak to.
Bobo, the president meets the press today. What would be your question to him?
Well, I guess it's a good time to say good morning to your cherished viewers who are spending precious time to listen to us.
You may have to speak up for me, please.
Good morning to your cherished viewers who are listening to us this morning, and of course to my colleague Aziz from Myon. Well, I will commend the president for excellent job that he's done in the past year, and also, of course, elicit from him when some of the things that clearly were not achieved, because I have always maintained that as a human institution, we are fallible, and we may have all the altruistic plans, but some issues would not necessarily go according to.
For example, what?
Of course,
one key thing.
One district, one factory did not commence in year one as we all expected.
In spite of all the promises.
Yeah, in spite of the promises.
And the timelines.
Of course, I mean, and that is being honest to the people of Ghana. I haven't heard anybody deny that is not the case. So it's surprising that my good friend here would suggest that the president has been dishonest to the people of Ghana. Thankfully, he is not the only Ghanaian. The greater majority of the people of Ghana who listen to the president every day and see the things that he does clearly know that he's been as truthful to the people of Ghana as he possibly can be. Of course, you know, coming from him, it's not surprising, really.
I'd rather
because if you listen to the example that he cited, the president was meeting a certain category of people, hairdressers and barbers association, and in his statement, he clearly made it bare that some percentage reduction was going to go to non-residential users and categorized the persons that he was meeting, barbers and hairdressers, as having going to benefit from a certain reduction in electricity prices. How does that amount to dishonesty?
Are we able to tell whose bill is for a hairdresser and for a barber?
But he clearly indicated the bigger non-residential reduction.
Are we able to tell? Are we able to tell, for example, if I take my bill and knowing that most of our bills are prepaid, not postpaid, how do they benefit? Do you know? I don't know what the modalities are, though.
I don't know the modalities as well, but of course there are technical people who clearly know how these things work, and I'm sure that they can provide the responses appropriately. But I do not see if clearly they can distinguish between residential and non-residential. Because if I have an industrial setup next to my house, but they are paying non-residential bill, then it stands to reason that that same categorization of one pole connecting both residential and non-residential, clearly there can be mechanism for distinguishing who is a barber and who is a hairdresser. I do not see the difficulty.
In a country where, you know, for example, you have your meter and your niece wants to start a barbering shop or a hairdressing shop, and they just tap power from your home to start their shop. Yours is a residential meter. So it means that even though they are running the barber and the hairdressing shop, they may not benefit from this facility.
So that is the risk that people who do that would have to live with. Because if you go for a meter that clearly categorizes you as a non-residential user, then you get the benefit of the reductions that have been introduced. But if you tap into a residential meter to run a commercial activity, clearly that is a business risk, and that cannot in any way be attributed to the president at all.
I hear you. Mo, wrap up on this one for me.
John, you see, it has become very clear that even my colleague here has admitted that the basis that the president used to make that announcement was not truthful.
I haven't made any such admission here.
Oh.
I have not. Speak for yourself, please.
But I thought
don't attribute anything to me.
I thought when
let's not get into a banter.
When you ask how
you have to correct it.
Let's not get into a banter. Let's not get into a banter.
I get you right. But when you ask the question of how we can distinct a bill coming from a barbering salon to a bill coming from a tailoring shop, the answer was I don't even know how that will be done. And so
he said that the technical people will do, but then he said,
but you and I know.
But I asked him the modalities, and he says
I want to leave him out of my submissions. The truth of the matter is that just this week, the president has demonstrated some level of dishonesty, which I have proven to you. You have a difficulty yourself telling whether a bill is coming from a barbering salon or from a tailoring shop. And so my worry has to do with the president not being honest with us. And look, I also expect him to be very candid to us today, to admit to the fact that even though in 2017, the budget made provisions for certain projects, those projects have not been fulfilled. For instance, the budget for $1 million for every constituency, including my brother's constituency, was provided for in the 2017 budget, and that they have failed to deliver on that. And that a budget was provided for the construction of dams, and that at the end of 2017, not even a single dam was constructed.
But have those funds been expended?
The president must also admit.
Question to ask.
The president must also admit, even though he went to Ekumfi to cut salt for the construction of a factory, a pineapple producing factory, that since he left that place up to now, nothing has virtually happened.
Some of those projects have been rolled over more.
And that when he pledged, and that when he pledged at that salt cutting ceremony, that at the end of the year, 51 would have been completed. That not even a single factory.
Said that.
The president said so.
The president.
Gentlemen,
what did he say?
Gentlemen,
so the president should be candid.
51 was going to be commenced by end of year.
Has that happened?
And I've admitted that it hasn't happened.
Has that happened?
It hasn't.
Mo.
Yes, so I'm just saying that.
Gentlemen, hold on.
On the issue of
please. Gentlemen, hold on, please. There's a reason we allow each one of you to speak at a specific time, because we don't want to have a clash.
Exactly.
Sometimes our viewers complain. So you have your time, he has his time. Let's keep it so we can note the points. I thank you very much.
And so I expect him to be virtually, if you like, retracting or apologizing to the Ghanaian public on some of these pledges that he made.
But the projects have been rolled over more.
Oh.
Some of them have been rolled over. We're told on the front page
projects, for instance,
of the daily statement that one village, one dam starts this week.
Remember, we were told by Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in the rainy season that the construction of those dams were going to start immediately the rain stopped. In fact, the rains have stopped for more than 3-4 months today. Nothing has happened. I'm just saying that you can govern and govern well when you are honest to the people, when you are candid to the people. You see, the office of the president is not just for want of a better word, an assemblyman of a small electoral area.
That's demeaning.
That's what I'm saying, for want of a better word.
That's demeaning. You may want to retract.
I do. But what I'm saying is that our president has a responsibility to govern and govern well, and that he must be honest to the Ghanaian public. That I cannot see from him. He must transit his mind and body from campaigning to governing, which I haven't seen for now.
I thank you very much. If I give you 30 seconds,
yes, of course.
You had a rebuttal.
See, we can pretend to be ostriches and say whatever we want to say. But the truth of the matter is that it was made categorically clear that some of these initiatives under the one village, one dam, 1 million per constituency was going to be administered by the development authorities. We know when the development authorities bill was passed, November of 2016. So you expected the government to be reckless like you people did and spend the money when the agency that the government had indicated was going to be used in fulfilling that promise had not been set up. Clearly not. In any event, look, this government has been very candid with the people of Ghana. Where we are falling short, we have admitted. Unlike you, who promised in your government during your era that you were going to do one premium payment for NHIs. Did it ever happen?
That's why Ghanaians
over the 8-year period. So what is the issue? We have a 4-year mandate.
That's why Ghanaians voted for change.
Our term ends in 2020. At that time, we would go to the people of Ghana and account, and they will have to make a determination whether we have met our campaign promises to them or not.
I thank you very much, gentlemen. Let's move on to the next conversation. There was no show at the Seat for Cash committee in Parliament yesterday. One would have thought that, well, prior to the sitting and, in fact, instigating and pushing the Speaker to set up the committee, we're told that there's evidence that people were ready to appear before the committee. They had documents and will and all of that. Suddenly, we can't seem to find the people. And yesterday, we were told that the committee had to wait for a full hour from 10 to 11 until the meeting was suspended. What does that say to you, Mo?
Well, my colleague here is a lawyer, and he better understands the intricacies of some of these things more than I do. But the fact of the matter is that a committee of parliament has the powers of a high court, and so the witnesses cannot just refuse to attend. They can be summoned by the committee to appear. What I gather is that those private businesses are not interested or are not willing to give their evidence in public because of some concerns that they have, and that they want to engage the committee in camera. Let's see whether the committee will be amenable to that, and if that will be granted. But interesting revelations have come up so far with the probe. Initially, people were saying that, oh, this was just some propaganda tool used by the NDC or the minority to taint the ruling party. But the revelation that I've seen so far, listening to witnesses like Honorable Muntaka Mubarak, our Chief Whip, Honorable Samuel Kujuta Blakwa, and then the president of the foundation. Right. I mean, it was revealing, especially when the president of the foundation appeared before the committee, whether he was referring to himself as a president or he was referring to the president of the republic.
I think that it was clear when they put up the chart and showed that by protocol the president sits in the middle, but with the addition of one more chair to make it 20, so there was a shift.
You see, when you have a program where you are expecting the president of the republic to come, it cannot just be that the man just bumped into the meeting. It would have been prayer arrangements, it would have engaged the presidency, and so the Ghanaian public are clear in their mind who they were referring to as president. Now, what is even more revealing is that, look, I cannot be judgmental on this issue, but even some of the documents that the witness himself tendered in evidence, some of them he was denying. Things had to do with two different letterheads, issues of signature, and so it may border on criminality, especially that they were speaking under oath. Those evidences were being given under oath.
But these evidences were supposed to have been corroborated by these experts. We'll take a break. Hold that thought. We'll take a break shortly. We'll return on to the news review segment here on NewDay. Welcome back. Your views and comments, as always, on WhatsApp. We're big on them. Let's read them. 0508235228. Now, Mo, wrap up for me before we go to Andrew. I'm saying that these same experts who were told had evidence, and you're saying that there are indications they don't want to appear on television. But the insistence at the time the petition was written to the Speaker was that this should be held publicly for everybody to see. Why would they want to do it in camera?
No,
do you know?
The petition was only calling for a probe into the matter. Whether it was going to be a public hearing or a hearing in camera was a decision of Parliament itself.
But the proponents of that particular petition,
that could not have been captured on the motion.
Yes, they didn't capture it on the motion, but the proponents were all over in the media
and the person
calling for a public hearing.
Yes, and the very people who moved and seconded the motion and the minority caucus is happy that there is a public hearing.
Right.
We cannot decide for the witnesses, but I can reasonably understand why businesses would not want to engage in a public discourse with the state.
Why?
In issue, maybe some of them might not just want to appear on our televisions. That is reasonably understandable. But let's see how the committee would want to engage them. If the committee insists on public hearing for all members or for all witnesses, that would be applied. But you see, my worry, when the president appeared, issues of signature, letterheads, and suspected doctrine of documents. There was an instance where he dismissed a document completely and said it was doctored when Dr. Ayeni was examining him.
Right.
He completely denied the document and said he didn't know anything about it. Then when Dr. Ayeni called for the document, now he said he wanted to study it. Then I asked myself, why do you want to study a doctored document? In any case, our worry is not just about the good governance issues about it. We cannot virtually auction the president.
That's a strong thing to say.
Oh, the president was virtually auctioned for an amount of $100,000.
Ambassador Victor Gbeho insists that there was no wrongdoing.
I am not speaking to what Ambassador Victor Gbeho says. I'm telling you what I can read. Now, you can just imagine, for instance, that a flag bearer, I'm not sure you would have paid 1 cedi to sit by then candidate Nanado. We all have entrusted the mandate of presidency into him, and his value has shot up from virtually zero to $100,000 that to sit by. Look, these businesses would want, at all costs, would pass on this to you as a consumer. It will form part of their cost build-up. Because businesses are there to make profit.
We don't know that for a fact.
So businesses are there to make profit. They are not charitable institutions. And so if after paying all these exorbitant electricity tariffs, cost of labor, Now they pay $100,000 US to sit by a president. You think they want to swallow those as costs? They'll pass them to you.
Andrew, stepping for me at this point,
what
do you make of everything that's happening? Experts not appearing, they've been written to, and all that is happening, cash for seats before Parliament?
Well, to the extent that the Committee of Parliament has the powers of the High Court, and when it issues a summons, you are required to obey the summons and appear before the committee. I think that if the expatriate business representatives declined an invitation from Parliament, that should be looked into and some compelling orders issued, because you cannot disregard the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. So to that extent, I agree with him that maybe Parliament will have to compel them to appear. But it is one thing compelling a witness to appear, and it's another compelling him to speak.
Okay. You are the lawyer. Explain to us.
Different. Yes, he can attend. You can't compel him to give evidence against himself or for you. He can just, yes, he can come and sit, appear, and not respond to your inquiry at all.
Are we chasing shadows?
I think we are chasing shadows, because clearly this is pure mischief that the NDC is trying to get the people of Ghana.
It's not important to know if somebody paid to sit close to the president.
Well, and I'll say this. You see, there's only one particular individual who is alleged to have paid and sat on the president's table. Now, this particular individual, Fakri, I believe, I've forgotten his first name, pardon me, I believe it's Ahmed Fakri or something, has been the president's client for 35 years. 35. Now, since His Excellency ascended the throne of office, he's had dinner in the gentleman's house at least on 2 occasions. He's gone to the president's house for dinner at least on 1 occasion. Why would that individual, who is a friend of the president, pay 100,000 to go and sit and have dinner with him? Does it make sense to you? Does it? But, well, if that is the kind of opposition, there won't be an opposition that deals with issue, that asks 172 questions on the economy and solicit responses from the government. There won't be an opposition that clearly would demonstrate to the people of Ghana that they are a better alternative to the MPP.
Do you think this probe has political undertones?
It's pure politics, simplicity.
It's not nationalistic in nature.
What is nationalistic about this? What is it? A sponsorship of a program? In any event, look, that's why the other day when I was here, I had a heated exchange with Bright. I asked him if he'd seen the letter. Because if he had seen the letter that Carlos Ahinkra is alleged to have written, he would clearly have noticed that the event was a strictly invitation event. No seat was sold. It wasn't a ticketed event. So if somebody comes to tell you that people were sold tickets to sit with the president, when the event itself was an event that was strictly by invitation and not ticketed, what does it tell you?
Where do we go from here?
Well, where we go from here is that the committee, because Mr. Speaker, clearly, because if he hadn't done so, the NDC would have gone to town that we have used our numbers to, as it were, prevent an investigation into a matter of national importance, according to them. And so, Mr. Speaker admitted the motion, and the committee has been set up. So we just have to allow the committee to do its work, and then submit its report to Parliament when we resume for us to interrogate it. But clearly, I mean, I'm surprised that he sees issues of forgery and revelations coming out from the investigation, forgetting that the substantive question that was put before the committee was whether seats were sold. Has anything, to your mind, been proven that seats were sold at the committee? They said that the presidency had been auctioned. Does anything that is coming out from the committee point to an auctioning of the presidency? I fail to see any certain happening.
We'll leave that to the committee to deal with.
Have been laid there. And at the end of the day, we'll see what the committee will come up to. That's a complete waste of everybody's time. Complete
when you say that it's a mischief by the NDC,
pure mischief.
I just want to correct that. That it is not the NDC that is probing the matter, and that the probing is not done at the NDC headquarters. It is the Parliament of Ghana.
Was the motion not at
no.
He says at this stage. What are you talking about?
At this stage, it is a matter before Parliament and not more the caucus of the minority.
And so you want to quote it as something that is a parliamentary
we are
action.
speaking to the issue in respect of the president as a president of the republic and not as a lawyer. So whether he's been a lawyer to Fakris for 35 years or so, that is not our concern.
I thank you very much.
That is not our concern.
Let's move on, gentlemen.
That is not the NDC's concern.
So we are playing our officer responsibility.
Go ahead.
We are playing our officer responsibility.
Gentlemen, thank you. Page 6 of the Daily Guide says 14 NDC stolen cars recovered and 14 vehicles belonging to the office of the president have been confiscated by state officials after months of thorough search. Interestingly, all the 14 vehicles were captured in ex-Chief of Staff's Julius Deborah's report as part of the vehicles in the poll at the Flagstaff House. Most of the vehicles in his report during the National Democratic Congress administration are also missing. But the former presidential staffer, now MP for Ningo Pram, Sam George, blew the cover of the said unpatriotic behavior when he said that most of the vehicles captured in the handing over report were later sold to appointees of former President Mahama as well as secretaries and journalists. So this is it. I remember vividly how in Deputy Chief of Staff John Yosef Kofi's letter at the time, he stated that we had 641 of these vehicles in the pool. Now we're being told that 14 of them have been recovered from outside. And earlier there were reports that there are some that have found their way into private hands. Let me start with you, Andrew, on this one. This is what we have. Are we going to get an end to this matter? Because I know that President Mahama himself issued a caveat that nobody should acquire an official vehicle. But that was flouted, we're told. Will we get an end to this?
Well, I think we should. But from where we sit now, I guess some conclusion will have to be brought to this matter. Some investigation will have to be conducted to, as it were, find out where all the vehicles are. We can't even determine the actual numbers as we speak, because the numbers that the Deputy Chief of Staff put out was completely different from what Mr. Ayuko, who was in charge of the vehicles, put out as having received. So clearly there's a disparity. I mean, in the run-up after the 2017 handover, we all had vehicles that had been hidden, some taken to garages and resprayed and numbers changed and all that. I mean, in the very recent social media video that has popped up, we've had the head of public sector reform clearly indicating some serious infractions with respect to how vehicles that were acquired were sold out, contrary to the instructions that the #1 citizen of the land, head of state at the time, had issued. And so I think that some closure should be brought to this matter. Some investigation should be conducted. By now, I expected that this thing should have been done and dusted. But I guess that there are still issues that needs to be looked into.
The last time this matter came up, the Administrator General came up and says he doesn't have resources. In fact, his office had only one motorbike. And constitutionally, he's the man supposed to be checking up on these things.
Absolutely.
1 year down the line, what does his resources look like? It's still the same.
Well, I'm not in a position to say at this time, because I don't know what the Administrator General has been saying with respect to resources or otherwise.
I'm using the last information he gave, which was a motorbike.
And of course, that was the early
constitutional duty.
Early months of 2017 when this issue came up, and it was clear that the NDC had not provided the needed resources to enable that office function efficiently. Of course, it is only during the transition that I guess these assets ought to be properly accounted for. We haven't had any transition in the past few months.
Right.
But then again, it's an office of state that needs to be resourced adequately to be responsible to handle all the assets of state. And if it hasn't been done, the Administrator General will have to confirm to us. But respect to these vehicles and some of the assets that belong to the state that were dissipated, I think that needs to be investigated and recovered for the benefit of the people of Ghana.
Mo, 14 cars recovered, and it adds here in the report on a daily graphic, that a daily guide, that according to him, Mr. Deborah's report captured 17 Nissan Sentra vehicles at the presidency, but not a single one could be accounted for at this point.
Johnny, let us stress that this story is captured by the daily guide, right?
Right, it's the daily guide. Page 6 of the daily guide.
And every person who follows the happiness in this country, especially respect of politics and governance, will tell you the position of the daily guide, that at every least opportunity, they want to tarnish the NDC black. And that this is a paper that the MPP would use to do.
Why do you say so?
It is true. I mean, we are a media person. You know what the daily guide does. I mean, you know very well. And that the MPP would use the daily guide to do all their dirty works. Now, I want to go.
I don't know.
Well, our viewing public knows better. But this is not the first story. Since this government assumed the reins of power. Remember, it was some 7 billion Ghana cedis that was missing in the state coffers when they assumed power. Now, evidence was provided to the contrary. They have gone silent on that matter. Later, there was this $72 million OBS at Senate. They have gone silent on that. We were told that some payments were made in respect of some ambulances that were not fit for purpose. They have gone silent on that. So there's an uncountable number of baseless allegations that they have leveled against the former administration and its officials. They have not been able to provide any evidence to that effect. In respect of these vehicles, even the home of Kofi Adams, our party's national organizer, was invaded. He and his family were traumatized. Vehicles were seized only for those vehicles to be returned with an apology. This government must sit up and work and stop the propaganda. You know, I just can't understand why. If you say 14 vehicles have been recovered, let us see those vehicles. Let us see their registration details. Let us confirm that this vehicle was supposed to be in the possession of the state and that we found it with Mr. A or Mr. B. This lies and propaganda must just stop. Why? There is evidence of officials of the MPP from 2001 to 2008 that bought state vehicles. In fact, salon vehicles. The law allows you, even chief executives.
But following which, President Mahama in 2015 wrote a caveat, and I read that letter, says that henceforth, no official should acquire their vehicle.
Johnny, I don't know the details of that letter.
That was flouted.
I'm making a point here. I don't know if that letter was in respect of cross-country vehicles, but just imagine that a ministry goes to buy a saloon car that will run for 10, 20 years. Why do you want to keep the scrap for as a state? Even chief executives. I have worked as a police servant, and I'm aware that people bought their official saloon cars. And that is lawful.
And Mo,
there's enough evidence of officials of the MPP
these cars
who benefited from that policy.
These vehicles that are supposed to be scrapped were told of reports, and these are reports that a chief executive will buy a cross-country vehicle, buy a saloon car, and then cover the cross-country vehicle, maybe the saloon car, not use it for 5 years, and then in the 5th year, it would auction it and take it and keep it. So the car in the records is supposed to be old,
very old,
but then in actuality, it's a new car.
So we can interrogate some of these issues. But when we delve into partisanship, into propaganda, with a view to tarnish the image of a political tradition without any basis, that becomes worrying. We must all come together as a country. I have told you that I have worked as a police servant, and I have seen officials of both parties, both regimes, acquire their official saloon cars, even the cross-country vehicles. The question I ask myself is, you walk into ministries and you see a cross-country vehicle with C registration, B registration. What would they do to those scrap vehicles? We must have a policy that we all agree on. both parties, the NDC and the MPP, must get out of this. But of course, you can tell who are best at doing that, as captured by this story, that at least there's enough evidence, even lands. When they put out a story that we appropriate lands to ourselves, then the list emerged that there were those, even in their own folks, who acquired state lands that they were not supposed to acquire, then they went silent on it. Let us stop this propaganda. I mean,
is there an end in sight?
Maybe if the two parties agree that we will stop doing this ourselves, it will stop. If the two parties agree that we'll stop doing this to ourselves, that will not use papers like the Daily Guide.
Why are you picking on the Daily
Guide? They are very good at
but that's not the question. The question is
which I have spoken to.
Is there an end in sight? You say
both parties, the NDC and the MPP that have governed this country since '92 and have done this to ourselves, must say no, we won't do this to ourselves again, and that will speak to the issues. We will not engage in extremely partisanship.
Thank you.
With some of these national issues.
Andrew, let me come back to you now. The IGP says Ghana is safe, but we're told of reports of some persons having grenades of varied species. That's what ACP David Clue said in that statement. Do you feel safe?
Of course.
The IGP says Ghana is safe. Do you feel safe?
I feel safe. And I guess that the information that has been put out there by the police is born out of the investigation that they've done with respect to the arrest that they've made. And clearly can assure the people of Ghana that even though grenades have been discovered on these persons, it is not something that is widespread, and that it is contained within that space, and that to the extent that these people have been caught by the arms of the law, we can go about our businesses peacefully. So I feel very safe. Of course, as is consistent with our human environment, crime would always be with us. Ability to control it and arrest perpetrators to serve as deterrent to those who have the desire to do so is what is important. And I believe that the IGP and the police, even though we've had cause to complain about their workings, by and large, we are safe. And I would urge everybody to be comforted that our police will do what it takes to ensure our safety at all times.
Mo, do you feel safe?
That's a very big question. I don't want to be political with this matter, but trust me, I don't feel too safe, I must admit. So I actually don't like driving out in the night again.
Why don't you feel safe?
Well, maybe we would come to that. The basic function of every government is to protect lives and properties. That I haven't seen much since the assumption of office.
The IGP is assuring you he's the man on the beat. He says Ghana is safe. Do you feel safe? You said
Ghana
no.
May be safe.
Why don't you feel
Ghana
safe?
May be safe from the activities of terrorists and these people who were arrested with the grenades. But there's some internal problem that we must deal with. Johnny, we shouldn't pretend. We shouldn't pretend. We know what we have gone through in this country for the past 1 year.
I don't know. Tell me.
Oh, people can invade this station and leave, and no one would arrest them. You are aware of the activities of the local terrorists that we have in this country. You are aware.
Namely?
Oh, the Invincible Forces, the Delta Forces. I'm sure the Bulgar Bulldogs have been scrapped.
And they are terrorists.
And that is, they are local terrorists, trust me. These guys are structured. That's the worrying thing. They are structured. They have a command. They have leadership, and that's worrying. Remember last week, one of these groups, I don't know whether it was the Kandahar boys or so, their leader was speaking to them, and he told them that they could engage in anything apart from robbery. And your media houses reported that. And that they were highly connected, and that they could do anything apart from robbery, and that they were immune from arrest.
How is that connected to the police finding grenade of varied species and declaring that
I'm sure you ask me if I'm safe as
in relation to this
as a citizen.
The IGP said that
generally speaking, I don't feel safe.
Speak to the issue.
And I've told you why I don't feel safe. But on the issue of the grenades that the police arrested 3 people.
Yes, 3.
That were in the possession of some explosives.
Exactly.
That are suspected to be a grenade.
One is said to have some links with ISIS.
I've read so. We should commend the police for being able to do the intelligence work to be able to arrest these people. We must also encourage the participation and cooperation of the populace, because we need to give some leads to the police to be able to do what they are doing. So it is a shared responsibility. I commend the police for what they have done in respect of the arrest of these three young men. But back to my question of whether I feel safe or not, I don't feel very safe under the presidency of Nana Akufo-Addo.
I thank you very much.
Enough evidence why I don't feel too safe.
I thank you very much, Mo. Your messages here on New Day, they are safe with me. And this is protocol from Willensi. President didn't say there will be reductions from barbers and hairdressers. He said non-residents. Please, Mr. Aziz, stop the propaganda. It will not help the country. Alasan Wana says, what I want to say to President Akufo-Addo this morning is to thank him for his tremendous performance and the implementation of some key social programs such as free SHS, planting for food and job, Office of the Special Prosecutor, Zongo Development Fund, etc. to enhance economic growth and productivity in the country. TV3 New Day, good morning. Kudos to Honorable Abdulaziz for making the issues clear for some of us. Osman Burukistan in Tamale. And Emilia Nasawasi says, we lag behind because we don't actually consider the needs of our rural areas. We vote for this president or voted for this president to lose our bearings on lorry fare, provide us with schools, hospitals, roads, potable water. Ask yourself how many of these have been provided. A boom administration. Please ask our president about agri student allowances. We are all trainees in Ghana from Upper West. Basin Fugu, student of Ejura Agri College. Johnny, I'll ask the president what's in his mind after naming Martin as special prosecutor. Mankwati Ibrahim is curious. Dr. Abedi Kwadaso Big Shoes near Kwadaso New Market says, the IGP said Ghana is safe. Yo Yate. I want to ask how the bombs got into Ghana. Was it due to the negligence of the police, customs, or immigration? If it was to be bribe issue like police will be mentioned. But when this bomb issue came, no one is blamed for it. God help Ghana, because the hypocrisy is just too much. Thank you very much. Kwesi Reynolds from Agonal Dobing says it's refreshing for the presidency to engage the press and give the overview of his governance so far and the way forward. I would urge the president and his team to keep their heads up and continue delivering on the mandate given them by Ghanaians. Regard to Chairman Freddie Blay. Good morning. The president hasn't succeeded in fully restoring the hope in Ghanaians with good policies and perfect appointments. My question for him is, Mr. President, have you ever taken bribe before? From Kawawa, Atira Nisa is a hopeful PBU organizer, hopeful in Boku Central. Good morning, TV3 crew. Why should we be panicked? Shouldn't we panic? Police should investigate the issue seriously. Muzu Oscar Solo in Georgia Volta region. Bro, how are you? Good morning, Mr. Host. My name is Odinehu King from Teshiman. We're proud of our president. He speaks like a man. Greetings to all your friends out there. You say Trump's issue is a big blow to some of us African countries, but many will rate it as being disrespectful. Even if his findings were true, this shouldn't be the best way of addressing it. It tells us how he was raised and brought up. In our culture, we will consider Trump as being a child of passing such a comment. So let's not value him and his comments. Good morning to you. The ears of all Ghanaians are ready to hear the leader of the nation, Nana Akufo-Addo, as he meets the media this morning at the Flagstaff House. And I'm only anticipating for good news from the president. Shalom to all Seventh-day Church Theocracy members. I thank you very much for your messages. We'll read some more of your messages as we make progress. So let's wrap up, gentlemen, this way. Page 10 of the Finder says that the minister stopped increment in university admission forms. The Minister of State in charge of tertiary education, Professor Kwesi Yanka, has sent a strong message to public universities to desist from increasing the cost of admission forms for the next academic year. This comes on the back of the reports that some public tertiary institutions have increased the cost of admission forms for undergraduate and diploma programs for the 2018-2019 academic year. This is interesting indeed, and some have viewed this as a profiteering enterprise for most of the universities. But I want us to tie it in with Professor Yanka said that we may have a single platform so that you don't have to go and pick a form for University of Ghana and for Tech and for UCC GIJ, but you can have a single platform that gives you access, you know, to all these platforms. What do you say to this, Andrew?
Well, I think it's a good thing. It's learning from best practice. I guess that the UK does that. I believe Nigeria also does that. And we have a single platform here in Ghana that places students into our SSSs. So extending it to the university level where you buy only one admission form and you have a joint admissions council or commission or whatever the name that is given to it. Is the entity that determines which university you are placed in.
Right.
Will cut a lot of struggles that our brothers and sisters go through. We all, during our era, bought multiple forms for
exactly. You were not too sure
because you were not sure, and you didn't want to stay at home. You know, because if you have the grades and you want to go do law in Legon, and cutoff is 7 for males and 8 for females, and you know, certain number only that they can take. You want to, you know, as it were, try and get another university so that just in case you are not, you know, admitted into University of Ghana, then you can go to either Tech or KBAS. Well, during our time, there were not many private universities, but now there are a plethora of them. Exactly. So I guess that it is useful, and it is something that I believe that the stakeholders will be engaged so that we can have some consensus on how our university admissions are done going forward. I think that it's also in the right direction for some indication to be made as to preventing the investors from increasing their forms.
Some did as much as 18% increment.
I think that not much has changed over the past year. Inflation hasn't gone up significantly to, of course, it's actually been on the decline, and so it's probably useful that
a slow decline, you mean?
Yeah, whatever decline rate that it is, it's been on a decline, and so it's better than the galloping ones that we used to have in the past.
Thank you. Let's all get there.
You spoke very well. You spoke very well.
Mo.
I see how you are landing. You spoke very well.
Andrew, thank you.
You spoke very well.
Wrap up this one. We have the final word on this.
You could see me nodding to him.
Andrew, thank you.
I haven't attributed the galloping inflation to that. Did you hear me mention NDC in my statement? I said it in the past.
Andrew, thank you very much.
It's okay. I would want to ignore the last part of your submission.
The minister's directive to the universities.
It's a good one. It's a good one. But let's also remember that these institutions use the sale of the admission forms as their major source of IGF to be able to run these institutions.
Does that give them the impetus to profit?
Oh, no.
I mean, if, for example, a school has space for 1,000 students or 3,000 and sells 25,000 forms.
That's not what I am advocating for. I share in the sentiments of the minister, and I think that it is a good directive. But my issue too is that the schools will need money to run. They rely on some of these payments as a source of IGF. We must also be asking ourselves, those that are subvented institutions, because all the public universities are subvented institutions.
Absolutely.
Are we able to release their budgetary allocations to them on timely basis? And so we must be dealing with the issue from both angles. The state must also be up and doing and making adequate provisions for them in their budget and releasing same to them on time. That's important. But upgrading the admission platform into a single platform would be a very interesting development. I think.
Why?
Very interesting development. It can bring some transparency to bear on the entire process. I think as a country we must be working towards that day, and I think that the minister got it right on that point.
When next I have you gentlemen, we'll be talking about
there's one issue that he's commended Akufo-Addo government.
when next I have you
this is just a directive. We have not implemented that yet. It's just a thinking that I share with. And I must be honest. I mean, why not?
When next I engage you both gentlemen, we'll be finding out how to absorb the theming numbers in the free SHS policy, the graduates into the university.
But you see,
and perhaps to ask the question of our universities, why most of our students are fee-paying students, and are paying huge sums of amounts.
Johnny, you just brought the issue of profit sharing. Our state institution, Ghana Immigration Service, just stood about 84,000 forms to prospective employees when they knew very well they were going to recruit just 500. So it cuts across, not just admission forms.
So you want
even forms for recruitment into the public service. You want to recruit 500.
I don't think that Honorable Andrew Ejapa Mensah is the MP for 2nd D in the Western region. He speaks for the MPP, and Honorable Mohammed Abdulaziz is the MP for Myong in the Northern region. They've been my guest this morning. He speaks for the NDC. Gentlemen, I thank you very much. And there you saw the handshake. Lovely one there. So don't boil your blood over nothing. They are friends. They'll go and drink coffee right after this.
Oh, well, you saw that new clip. It's exclusive. You're seeing it probably for the first time here on TV3 New Day. And the man himself is in studio with us. We're talking about Fancy Goddamn. Good morning. Is it Dasiba? Dasiba. Great. We got something right there. But we promised you something. We'll bring it to you very shortly. But tell us about what you've been up to since you last came here. We saw you in about November. After that, what happened?
Yeah, you know, I came here to do my show at the Bokum Boxing Arena. Right. And the police. For yourself,
and it will not be total cheat.
Charlie, now you're not going to do that thing. You understand? Yeah. You know, management wouldn't allow you.
You send Erasmus to go and call them.
Oh no.
You just drop your number. The lady would have to call. Yeah. But I mean, how has it been for you? Like you said, it's a dream. But currently, where you stand, are you happy with the success you have chalked?
Yeah, you know, I think I'm making the whole Northerners proud because, you know, music in the North way back was very hard, you understand? But we work hard and get recognized nationally now. And that was the reason why, you know, we put Sarkodie on the Total Cheat. Right. And after Total Cheat, you know, the whole Ghana was dancing to that tune. Yeah. We decided to put Pata Rankin on the next song so that we can go out of Ghana small.
Nice. We'll talk about Pata Rankin and your new song. But the VGMA has opened nominations. Are you filing for any?
Oh yeah, I mean with the work, so go file.
Okay. Have you filed yet, or you're waiting to file now?
I think my management are doing that.
Okay, they're filing. Do you know what they are filing for?
Yeah.
Some say new discovery of the year.
We had that already. So
some say artist of the year. Some say most popular song of the year.
Yeah, we're going for popular song, going for artist of the year, going for collaboration, and going for hip life song. Yeah.
Let's talk about Gamro. Are you a member of Gamro?
Yeah.
Do they pay you royalties?
They pay me small.
How small is that? 200 Ghana, 350?
Yeah.
Small money.
Small money.
But your song is all over, so when they bring the money.
So they pay me plenty.
Don't you ask questions? Don't you ask them questions when they bring you small money? Say, my song is all over the place. Why did you bring me so money?
You know, sometimes I don't want to like discuss, and you know, I like to be disrespectful to the seniors.
Right. But that's not disrespect. It's your due. You've worked for it.
But sometimes, like, if you are trying to fight for yourself, some seniors will think you are being disrespectful. You understand? So I just keep it cool.
You control the crowds. The crowds come to your shows. They pay. They buy your music. They know your music is popular. They will tune into a radio station if your song is playing.
Yeah.
So why can't you get the money that's due you? Because you can't be a hungry star, can you?
Yeah, no. I don't want to be one.
Okay.
But the thing is, I am not the only one who is, being cheated. You understand? Right. But if I am going to stand on that, I think I don't want to be discussed. Right. You understand? I don't want to be discussed.
Do you get support? Do you get an indication that the industry supports, that the nation itself supports musicians, budding ones like you?
No.
You don't get the indication? No. Not at all. Why? No. Why so?
Because, sometimes where I am from, so whatever is, like the things that goes on here in Accra, we don't know. You understand? We just, in the north, we organize our own shows, do our own things. But it is now that we are getting to know more things here in Accra, because now I'm always in Accra, so we'll learn more in Accra.
You're a national asset now. The president is meeting the press today. If you had a chance to meet the president, what would you tell him?
Yeah, I'll tell him we need a venue. In another
event venue.
Because where we are doing our event is at the sports stadium. We don't have any venue. In the northern region.
Right.
The entire three northern region would have even one venue. Yeah.
So that's what you demand from the president.
Yeah. But anyway, let's come to your new music. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, you see, the song title is Customer.
Who is your customer?
Customer is a bad girl who we are having fun with. You understand? And she seems to be nice to you. Like you love what you are getting from her. So you decided to, maybe when you are giving her one CD, two CD, you decided to give her $1 million.
Okay.
So in the song I said, Angela, it no be $1. You deserve $1 million.
Nice.
Angela, not a $1. You deserve $1 million fancy. My name na fancy. Girl them fancy. Alongside Pato ranking. Why I say, guy, my customer. Hey, I love you, your costume. Customer, you make her confused. Customer, your body amazing me. I gonna love to keep you so close to me. Yeah, I'm in love with your company. I gonna make you secretary for my company.
Charlotte, that's dope.
Solid. But do you have a real life Angela? It was just a name.
No, it's just a name.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
So there's no customer.
No. So there's customer, but there's not Angela.
So where do you get the title of your songs from?
Yeah, mostly, I always come out with something that has never been in the industry. Right. You see, Total Cheat alone. Like, because I'm unique, I always want to come out with something that nobody has in mind before.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's where I get my concept
The lyrics is interesting. How long did it take you to write the song? This customer song?
Yeah, I would say a day. Because when I had the beat, mostly that is what inspired me. When I have nice beat, I don't know where I get the lyrics from.
It just comes to you.
Yeah, it just comes to me.
You're natural at that.
Yeah.
Great artists, great painters sometimes paint naked in their room. Some would like to eat belly full before they paint. Some would like to drink alcohol. Some would like to indulge in other things. What do you do before you start writing your lyrics? We want to know.
Yeah, once you get them, I do nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah. You don't pray.
You don't pray. You don't bath. You don't
hang out with customers.
Oh, hang out with customers. I get customers. So. but drink, smoke. No, I don't do that.
You don't drink. You don't smoke.
No.
Do you like food?
Oh yeah.
Are you a glutton? Are you a foodie, as they call it?
I do love food.
You like food?
Yeah.
I see.
TZ. That was what I was coming to.
Do you know how to prepare it?
No.
Not really.
So he has a customer for that one too.
So you're featuring Pato Ranking on this song.
Yeah, Pato Ranking.
What was the working relationship like with Pato Ranking?
Yeah, you see, Pato Ranking, I got to meet
And that's what you're riding. That's the new-ish now in town.
That's a new-ish now.
New-ish in town.
Yeah.
When are we getting a show for Customer? Because Total Cheat had a show. It was massive. Tamale Stadium blocked. Bukom Boxing Arena blocked. Kumasi blocked. Everywhere blocked. When are we getting one for Customer?
Definitely, you know, when we have the collaboration, the best thing we can do is to come together and do a show. So Tamale people, if they want 14th April.
Okay. Is that your birthday?
Oh no.
When is your birthday?
It's August.
Yeah, but you're born in August.
August 16th.
16th August. Okay, we'll celebrate you. That's a homework period.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll celebrate you. But I'm grateful.
Thank
you very much.
Thank
and
you
congratulations.
So much.
Keep doing the good work.
Yeah, man.
Total Cheat. Customer. Next we'll do one. Yeah.
Where you go?
Where you go?
Hey, goodness. Anyway, guys.
That's him there. So the new one, brand new one coming out to you. What's the title of that song? The new one he has, Customer. You want to be my customer?
That's why I'm quiet, because I don't want to be anyone's customer.
Take a look at this one. We'll come back to wrap up the show. Enjoy first time airplay here on New Day, award-winning show, Customer by Fancy Gadam featuring Pato.
You know, Johnny, I think I have to go on a name rampage and tell everybody my name because Angela has become too popular. Everyone is mentioning Angela. Why is she the only girl in Ghana? When there's Nana, Mananefia, Nanekia, Nana, why? People use us more. You use Ama just for.
There's even Alma and Mrs. Alma,
Yes.
9pence. It's her birthday today. You're related to John 9pence here. He's a cameraman. Happy birthday to you. Enjoy. And to all our friends watching us from across the country, it's your birthday today. Happy birthday to you.
Johnny, how do you say good morning to those in South Africa?
I'm told as it's in Dinami.
In
Dinami, that's in Igbe, right? In Dinami, yes.
Dasiba in Dangbe.
Yeah, it's the Chinese version.
Yeah.
It's the Chinese version of the show. But we thank you all very much indeed for watching. Tomorrow will be another day. It's Thursday. That's what it's going to be. Happy birthday if it's your birthday today. And be good as you go out, celebrate yourself. And if you're working for somebody or you have your own job, make sure that you're winning. It's the most important that
you mentioned if you're working for somebody. What I want to remember everybody is that whatever contribution you make where you work counts a great deal. And so even if you think you're working for somebody, work as if it was your own. And then you do it passionately. And when it goes well for the whole company. You get the goodies in it as well. So don't go to work and work sluggishly thinking it's for someone. That's why I'm doing it the way I'm doing. It may turn out to be yours in the end. So do it well. You certainly will be blessed. But have a good day. Tomorrow is Thursday, Throwback Thursday. We plan to bring you interesting pictures, and kudos to you for getting up, waking up, and joining us on the show, your best breakfast show in Africa on TV3 New Day.
Please, if you find Amy Newman, tell her I've missed her. We miss her music. We miss the kind of quality gospel music that they do, and we want them back. The likes of Mary Gansa as well, Joby Chem,
Susie and
Jane and Benny Sofair.
Yes.
We miss them. We miss the proper gospel. We don't want Bide Kambo. We gotta go now before we get into trouble.
We'll see you same time tomorrow, 6 to 9 a.m. here on TV3.